car meditation. We don't really have to be in the gym to talk about health and fitness, nutrition, and the three elements to a healthy body: fitness, nutrition, and supplementation. All right, so if you do your research, you will find that the FDA, Food Drug Administration, does not approve supplements. They never have, and they probably never will. But if you look, you will see that supplements have been proven theory to have some benefits. You know, they're not a magic pill. There's no snake oil or anything such as that nature, but they have been known to have benefits by human studies, meaning people have been raving about them. Now, certain things as we age that you're just not going to get in food anymore. Certain vitamins and things of that nature. You know, I don't care, you know, what people say. You know, you can grow it, you can, you know, don't spray it. It's just certain things that, you know, things are changing on the planet. Soil is changing. And I really haven't met anyone yet that gets their soil specially shipped and treated and, you know, and things of that nature. And I know there people are, but you don't go through all that. So things are neglecting certain nutrients these days, and that's usually what supplementation fulfills. You know, there's not, you know, certain qualities of things in food as it used to be. You know, just things as simple as the sun. You know, if you live in a certain climate, we don't get a lot of sunlight. We don't get a lot of sun rays. And even I notice when I go on certain trips or vacations that I feel so electric when I'm in the sun. If I'm in a country that's warm in the sun, I feel so electric from my joints to like everything. I just feel so electric. My hair grows differently. You know, the food tastes differently. So it's just so many things that are different, and that, you know, honestly speaking, our country in America robs us of. We don't get the proper, you know, nutrients in food like we used to, even if it's quote unquote whole food, even if it's quote unquote homegrown and farm raised. You know, it's like certain things that we've been robbed of, and we get robbed of here. I have clientele in different countries such as Spain and England and Mexico. I did once upon a time have a client in Greece, and learning about like just their diet in the Mediterranean. I mean, just the food quality is so different in other places. And anyone who has traveled, you know this, because you just know it just tastes different. Recently, we went to Mexico. My wife and we went to Mexico for our honeymoon, and I drank coffee there. Like, I was drinking coffee. When I would get my coffee, I would drink it like water, and it just tastes so pure, and so like, it was like coffee I had never had before. And I noticed when I came back home and smelling coffee here, and I drunk it one day, and I was just like, God, this tastes horrible. This tastes terrible. Like, and I instantly just stopped drinking coffee. I haven't had coffee since. My honeymoon was in August. I haven't had coffee since. I haven't craved it. When I smell it, kind of turns my stomach a little. I noticed that chicken was different. You know, beef was different. Even vegetables were different. There's certain vegetables that I eat here, even if they're organic, you know, it messes with my digestive system. There's certain food that I've eaten here, even if it's organic or whole, makes me sick. And I don't mean like sick where, you know, I'm bent out of shape and all torn bedridden or anything, but it's like, you know when you eat something and it starts, you know, your body starts activating, you're like, wait a minute, you know. And so it's not a mystery that, you know, the same government that allows bad and contaminated and different types of poisons in our food here, and poisons to be put in food and chemicals to be sprayed on food, won't approve something that they know your body's getting robbed of. And I just, for a client recently, I Googled, she was asking about, like, you know, mental health and everything. And do you know that, like, I Googled, you know, supplement she could take. I mentioned like valerian root and, you know, things of that nature to help her sleep. And I said, but St. John's wort, you know, I said, and then I said, I can get you like connect you with my brother and get you some, some gummies. And I said it usually help you sleep too, and it help, like joint benefits and things of that nature. And she Googled it right there. St. John's wort is still like number one on the list for helping people with depression and mental anguish. St. John's wort, I remember as in the teenage years, people talking about St. John's wort. I remember my mom having that in the bathroom cabinet. It's like St. John's wort still is around to this day. I'm 46 years old and it's still around. But if you Google, does the FDA approve supplements? No, the FDA has never approved. People are still taking glucosamine, still around. Fish oil, CoQ10, man, turmeric, like these things are still around. And anyone knows if you travel to another country and you able to go off your resort or whatever, go out your hotel reservation, let them take you on a tour on the land and let them point out to you everything that can benefit your health. When we went to Jamaica, my family and I, my sister, my cousin, my wife, we went to Jamaica. We literally were walking on leaves. My man said, if you take this and put it in a hot cup of water and drink it every day to help cure diabetes. We stepping on it. I'm like, man, what the, really? So, you can say, I want to be all natural and, I want to, and that's good. That's fine and dandy. And in my sport, the world, all natural, we all know what that means. You're not taking, PEDs or steroids or anything like that. But I mean, when it comes to a person, and everybody's body is different compared to their blood type. People have to learn that. You have to learn that. And you have to learn your blood type and your DNA history, so to speak, because you could stop doing something that your body needs and you can rob your body of that. I've seen it. I've trained thousands of people. And it's like I've seen people go to these fad diets where they only doing, I'm only going to do vegetables, and all of a sudden their hair falling out. Or I'm only going to do meat, and all of a sudden they're getting rashes. And it's like, and it's not that they just doing anything. They choosing to live a different sort of life for a healthier benefit and cleaner benefit for themselves. And it's like, it doesn't work out. I've seen where it has benefited a lot of people, but then sometimes it just doesn't work out. And that comes down to us knowing our blood type and our DNA history. And when you go to your physician, you should know what you can present to your physician. Don't give your physician the go ahead to just figure everything out on their own, because these people are people too. They got stuff going on in their lives, and not everybody is a dedicated physician. Not everybody will really sit there with you and go through the process with you. I've been fortunate enough over the years to have one physician that was a bodybuilder, former bodybuilder. I've been over the years, I have a sports medicine doctor. Over the years, I've had a physician that was a nutritionist. He was a personal trainer. He was a chiropractor. He went to school for everything involving the body, so it's like I've been fortunate enough to find people that really are going to sit there and say, man, we got to figure this out. You feeling this way, or going through this, or you going through that, or that joint ache, that muscle ache, it's like, and I've been very, very grateful and blessed with that. But I didn't just go in and hand my life to somebody and tell them, hey, figure it out, because 9 times out of 10, and I know this from these physicians that I've had, people get perks for getting you on medicine. Every script that's written sometimes is worth $155. That's the low end I done heard. On the high end, I done heard some scripts, if you write, people, they getting paid $1,500. And so be mindful that, sometimes, man, in this world, you're going to have to supplement, something to better yourself. And it doesn't mean that you have to go full throttle, taking everything and this and that, but, just do your research, do your homework for yourself. Research for yourself. Research for yourself. Let's have this car meditation be that. Research for yourself. Peace. Fight for your life.